controller is the module which controls this particular process. So initiating the process, stopping the process, and some more features are controlled by the load controller.
Okay.
Does that answer your question, Jacob?
Yeah, actually, for example, if you are considering different system landscapes, right, like ECCA or SRM or BW, we have some different landscapes. So we have
Okay.
HANA is a different system.
Yeah.
So if you're considering the BW, that BW need to have that replication agent, right, to contact with connect with the SAP HANA.
So see BW, we were never going to use, at least as of now, the use case perspective, we're not going to use BW to get data from BW to HANA. It's always going to be HANA to BW. So then it becomes a part of the BI kind of tools where you're extracting data out of HANA.
Okay.
So let's take BW out of the equation for now. And so let's reframe your question one more time, please.
Junaid, so basically I was saying so different system landscapes like ECC, we have the SRM or supply chain.
Okay.
So basically these systems needs to have the replication agent installed, right? If they want to communicate with. Correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So that was my question. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it?
That is correct. All right. So this is the what is this slide for is to highlight the components which are going to be used for loading data, and this is specifically for Sybase Replication Server. Let me double check on that. Okay, so they are also using data services here. So this is for Sybase as well as BODS. So this being your source system, this being your target system, and you're using the IMCE Studio, of course, to do some initial operations. And these highlight what kind of tools you're using, and these are some other systems, SAP NetViewer, BW, and third-party source systems as well. So no matter what you're using, you have to, at this point in time, Sybase is only compatible with IBM DB2. So you're going to be installing that replication agent in that. And going forward, if Sybase becomes compatible with others, then as Jacob said, you have to install application agent as of today.
So this page manager and persistence layer both are different, right?
So say that again, please, Kiran.
This is Kiran. Page management, persistent layer, logger, all three are different, right?
Yes, they are different. So persistent layer is for the page management and logging, and this is the actual disk storage where you store the data and the logs. So
page
two different layers.
Logger is for the persistence layer, the components in the persistence layer.
What it does?
The page management and logger are the components in the persistence layer.
Yes, correct.
So do you more elaborately tell later?
Yes, definitely. It's coming, next slide is coming. So this is some explanation. Tables. So to start with, the tables from ERP system are initially loaded into HANA. So that is your step number one. Before that, you need to bring the metadata if you're using BODS. But if you're using SLT or Sybase, it automatically does it for you. It creates all the tables by itself. All you have to give is the needed rights into the SAP HANA database, and it will do everything for you. And all the subsequent changes to the ERP tables, which are the delta, are replicated into HANA server. Now here is where the transaction manager will make sure that the data is not duplicated, and MVCC is achieved here. So the next is some information about how it's integrated. Also, we need to make sure that especially with SLT, they work with very specific systems, especially in terms of version control. In terms of versions. So we need to make sure that you have all those particular versions and the needed updates, and you have applied all the nodes. In the case of replication server, this only works for Unicode, which you can see here. So there are some limitations, lot of limitations for Sybase replication server. It only works with Unicode, it only works with IBM DB2 right now. And you can only transfer data to one SAP HANA system at a time. You cannot transfer it to multiple SAP HANA systems from source to HANA, source to target, I mean. So this is SLT. This is the architecture of SLT, how it is done. So you're going to use a RFC connection to talk to your source system if it is a SAP system, and a remote function call, that's the connection you're going to use, and you're going to create the DB read modules and login tables inside the source system, and the trigger is the one which is used to log the changes, and the read modules takes care of certain activities which you'll see in the next couple of slides. And the SLT system here, you can this is slightly different from the Sybase application server. So this can either be independent, so you can install it separately on a server, or you can install this as a part of your NetWeaver, or as a part of any of your other SAP systems. So you can do both as your design allows you to do it. And what you need to make sure is that the NetWeaver version is 7.02. So that is important. There's also another kernel version which you need to make sure you have. And once you have all the basics, you can go ahead and install the SLT server. Now, SLT talks with the DB connection into SAP HANA. And pretty much everything happens within the control module here in SLT. So you're going to use this control module to achieve your basic tasks in terms of transformation. This kind of transformation is not like heavy duty transformation like BODS, but small transformations are possible with SLT as well, but currently it's not recommended. And they want you to use BODS if you want to do anything with the data. SAP HANA administration console, and there is another console which you can use to monitor all the transfer of data if you're using SLT, and you can initiate the initial load, you can replicate data, you can pause the replication, all using SAP HANA console. So you can control this whole process using the SAP HANA console. So this particular slide talks about the modeling perspective, and which are the tools, which are the components used in that particular exercise. So mostly you're going to be using the modeling, basically the studio, and in the studio you're going to be using the modeling perspective. That is number one. Then of course you're going to use the metadata manager here, and they are saying that you're going to use BODS and design tool. You need to use the design tool, information design tool. IDT is a part of SAP Business Objects 4.0, and it is the one which you're going to use to make connections to your SAP BODS to SAP HANA. So that's why they have identified this as a component. So pretty much in my perspective, for an end user perspective, you're going to be using only the modeling perspective to exercise all your activities, modeling activities. So this is another point to remember when you're referring to modeling. Now, since we are using tools which have the capabilities to model at every stage. For example, if you're using BODS at a source level to bring data, so that also has a lot of modeling capabilities, transformation capabilities. So you can, you should probably think, okay, fine, I'm bringing the data into SAP HANA. So what all can I do before I bring the data into SAP HANA so that I can reduce my workload on SAP HANA? So you can see what all transformations you want to do, and based on that, exercise those using BODS 4.0. Now, of course, after bringing the data into the engine, you can create data models, you can create views, attribute view, analytical views, and calculation views on top of the data which you have got from the source system. Now, that is the second level of modeling. Now, the third level of modeling is when you create universes. For example, let's say you're using a BI tool and you're consuming the SAP HANA models. Now, SAP HANA views they look like tables. Nothing to, there's no difference. So you're consuming the SAP HANA tables to create universes in the BI layer. So that is the third and the final layer of modeling which you can do. This is for the Agile Data Mart use case. Of course, if you use BW, then there's another layer of modeling that you can do. Let's see if I missed anything. Yep, that is all it is. So information design tool is new to SAP Business Objects 4.0. Earlier it was called as Universe Design Tool. Now it's called as Information Design Tool. So remember that. And you're going to use Information Design Tool to anything to do with SAP HANA. You're only going to be using Information Design Tool.
So Junaid, what is our information modeler tool then, which is for the point number 2?
So they are referring to this studio, the in-memory.
So we don't.
Sorry, Jacob.
So that information modeler tool, right? That's point number 2. We won't do any modeling there in the SAP HANA.
Of course. That is. Of course, we're going to do a lot of modeling there.
Okay.
So what is that? I have another question in the previous slide.
Yeah, go ahead, Kiran.
Yeah, the SLT, that NetWeaver, is the NetWeaver is the main transformation tool for the SAP systems to the any other database. I heard the NetWeaver a lot of times, but I don't know what exactly it is.
Okay. So NetWeaver is a enterprise platform which all your SAP systems are running on. So now whatever, if for example, now in terms of SLT is not dependent on NetWeaver. You can, if you have an already existing NetWeaver enterprise or platform in your enterprise, you can use it. You can install SLT on that particular instance or server, and you can bring data using that scenario. Or if you don't have it, that's fine. Or even if you have it, you can still install SAP SLT on a separate server and still be able to do the data, pulling data from your source to SAP HANA.
You mean it is a kind of business object? It is a kind of Tomcat or something like that. Is that the same similar kind of thing in the NetWeaver?
Actually, Kiran, you know what? I'm not really able to hear you, but I'm able to hear Jacob clearly. If you don't mind, you can also type the question, please.
Do you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, my question is if the NetWeaver is a kind of business object, it is a Tomcat or something like that.
No. SAP NetWeaver is not it's not a tool set. It's a platform. So, for example, composition, provisioning, managing the SAP systems, various other administrative tasks. So NetWeaver is actually a platform where all the other SAP systems can run and talk to each other using the ABAP code and various other functionalities. So that is a platform to kind of bind all the SAP systems they have.
Okay. It's kind of something.
Junaid, actually, NetWeaver it brings SAP into a web-based platform, right?
Yeah, it does, definitely does, but yeah, that is also correct.
Yeah, I actually, earlier I heard NetWeaver is a kind of BW's middleware or something to load the data. That's what I heard. I'm not sure exactly what it is.
Okay. Yeah, it's not an independent tool set. It's not a tool set, it's a platform. All right, great. So any other questions so far, Jacob? And
Yeah, I'm good. Please go ahead.
okay, great. All right. So where did we stop? We stopped at. No, actually, Jacob, you were asking me a question about the in-memory studio. Then Kiran asked me a question. Then we kind of.
Yeah, actually, I was
Again,
asking about the information modeler. So
okay, so this information modeler is the
that one sits in
modeler.
the memory.
Go ahead, Jacob. Yes, go ahead.
That the information modeler sits within HANA, right?
Yes, I'll show
Point
you.
number 2.
It is within the modeler, within the IMC studio, and in the IMC studio there are two perspectives. One is the modeler perspective and one is the administration perspective. So they are referring to this particular modeler perspective.
Okay. Okay.
All right, great.
So what about that the third point, right? That business objects information design tool, where that one sits?
Okay, so the information design tool is a tool used to make connections to SAP HANA. Whether you're making, you can make a lot of connections. For example, you are using a BI tool set. So, like for example, let's say Explorer. So, creating a connection, enabling, disabling, all those administrative functionalities in terms of connectivity are achieved through the information design tool. And you're going to use the information design tool to also publish a business layer and publish the reports and your universe to the repository and all the connections to the repository. So that is your main tool which you're going to use for
So
connections.
basically, it's the administration side, right?
Yeah, you can say something like the administration type and also the universes. So it's very important.
I can clear you that one. It is basically kind of you are joining the tables, relation tables, where you join this the place in the information design tool. You can join those relations with the table, and also you can create object names with the business names. That is the useful. That is the use of this information design.
Yeah.
So before you are creating a report. So this information designer tool does have all the business related names. In terms of database, the table name is suppose the country table, usually some only few letters country, something like that will be there. In here you can write the country, the total name of that object. That kind of translate you can do with the
Okay, got it.
Okay. So there are some. Thank you very much, Kiran, for that information. So in terms of SAP HANA, you're going to use an information design tool to make connections, and obviously also use the tables and create a business layer, like he said, and then publish those connections and reports into the repository. And now the front-end clients, for example, Business Object Explorer, or it is a web intelligence, or is it a crystal report, all of those are going to be talking to your repository, and they can use these universes which you have published to create reports in their front-end layers. Little more information. I think most of it is overlapping in what he said. Just wanted to add it. All right. So this is the reporting part of it. What are the tool sets we're going to use for reporting? So these are the engines. Of course, you are going to be requesting using the SQL statements. That's how you can talk to the database here. So these are the tools you can use to talk to the SAP HANA. Of course, these are all part of SAP Business Objects 4.0. You can use ODBC, JDBC, ODBO, and ODBC, JDBC, ODBO, and BSCS connections to talk to these. So of course, not all of them can use all of these. Each one has their own specific protocols they use. So I think I also mentioned yesterday, some tools need a semantic layer and some tools do not need a semantic layer. So web intelligence, special reports, and Excel sheets, that is nothing but dashboards. They need a semantic layer. You need to create a universe, and on top of it, they're going to be using that universe to create the reports or whatever activity you're going to do with those front layers. And if you are talking to Business Object Explorer, Crystal Reports Enterprise Edition 2008, or AA Office, you do not need to create a universe. And BI4 AA Office talks to SAP HANA using BSCS connection. Those are things you need to remember in terms of connectivity. Yesterday I had a very good slide which clearly mentioned actually all these things. So maybe we can go there and quickly take a look. That will help you to remember what we said. So this is what I was talking about. These three tools need a semantic layer, and these three do not need a semantic layer. And AA Office talks with BICS. So these guys talk with ODBC, JDBC, ODBC, JDBC, and Microsoft Excel talks over MDX using ODBO. So those are some things in terms of reporting. Alright, that's good. Okay, Kiran, I think I have it in the session 3. Excuse me. A little more information about page management and logger.
Okay.
And these two. So what I can do is I'll bring it in my next slides, and I can also point you to some documentation which you can read, and we can discuss about these two components. So this particular part of it is the administration part. Administrative tasks. So you're using the administrative perspective of the studio, and you're basically talking to persistence layer and disk storage. So disk storage is ultimately where your actual data is stored, whether it being data or logs. So this is where it is stored, and these guys store the page. They take care of page management and logging, the current logging. So this slide talks about some tasks, some very few tasks actually. Administration console has about, maybe in my opinion, let's say 200-300 features which you can use. We'll see all those, not all, but some of the important ones. But I can show you what all features they are. But for end user perspective, you can use the administration tool obviously to start the stop, starting and stopping the engine. You can create edit users, also all the authentication part of it, creating roles, creating users, and assigning roles to users, creating entitlements in terms of roles. So what each role can do, all those can be created using the administration console. Obviously, you can create tables, indexes, and all that administration in terms of schema management. All that can be done through administration tool. My favorite is query optimization, obviously, because this is a feature which is not, it was not available as much as in this detailed fashion before, where you can visualize the query, where you can see each job, how long it's taking, what are the different database locations it's using, what is the page number. So you can go to that level of detail using this particular functionality. And another very important part is creating and replaying a backup. So this is critical because you're storing in RAM and you have to create backup, and you have to be able to bring the data back. So in case of disaster recovery, this is very critical when you're planning your disaster recovery strategy. Okay, so that's all I would like to discuss with you today in terms of the architecture. I was still not sure whether we are doing 1 hour or 2 hours. We have some communication issues, I guess. I was informed at the last moment, just like Kiran was informed.